My wife cheated on me, we're going through the divorce process and live in the same house. She is gaslighting the hell out of me. I feel like staying under the same roof is horrible for my mental health. Need some advice. As the title suggests, my wife cheated on me, multiple times, throughout the course of the last few months. I had a sneaking suspicion pretty much immediately when the affair started, however, she was so convincing when I talked with her. I was never vindictive or overly confrontational when I brought it up, but man, when I did, she'd flip the script on me like I'm some kind of bad guy for trying to discuss our relationship and questioning her integrity. Anyways, I found out. She was constantly on her phone, and one night, not proud of this, I did what I had to do and read her text messages. I confronted her the next morning about the affair, and she lied. I confronted her again, this time telling her I have seen her text messages, and she lied again. Finally, I had to literally recite some of the messages I read, and she just fell silent. Her response to all of this was not to apologize, but instead she told me if didn't push her to that point, she never would have done it. I know I'm an anonymous stranger on the internet, but guys, when I tell you I have never in my life done anything to my wife that would make her cheat, I'm not kidding. I've never been physical with her, never yelled at her, never really done anything that would make me question my own integrity. Truly. I'm not perfect, but I honestly have been a good husband to her. Well now, living with her has been hell. She is telling anyone and everyone we know that I have emotionally abused her. Even after finding out, I have never been mean, yelled, etc. I've told her I'm heartbroken and we're definitely getting a divorce, but honestly, that's where it starts and ends. Every little word that comes out of my mouth she twists like I'm some kind of bad guy. She claims I'm gaslighting her, which is crazy, because she is gaslighting me. She's always mean and confrontational when I see her, and honestly, I don't really say anything because I just know it'll be taken the wrong way or twisted in a way I didn't intend and she'll start an argument. What do I do? Why is she being so horrible? Shouldn't I be the one mad at her? Honestly, I just want to coast out this divorce process and move on, but she is so overly combative it's making a cordial divorce very, very difficult. At first, her gaslighting was getting to me. I was questioning myself hard, but I've had some time to step back and think rationally, and what she is claiming simply is not true. Someone help a brother out, 'cause I'm struggling. Redditor's reactions, story 2 after. Redditor 1, learn the value of grey rock and the 180 methods. Return her level of energy but have other coping mechanisms when she's not around. Find ways to release emotional energy not around her. Don't waste any more energy in a conversation with her. Start planning how and when you can move. Remove all mutual friends that don't support you from your life. Focus fresh and with healthier people. Answer, just googled grey rocking, and that was super helpful, thank you. I have definitely inadvertently been practicing some of these methods in response to this, but this gives me something to be mindful about. I don't think my wife is a full-on psychopath or anything, but understanding how I can disengage from confrontation in someone who is looking for it is helpful. Redditor 2, hey op, feel free to take a look at my post history. I feel some similarities in my experience versus yours. Ignore her, do the 180 grey rock, it drives people like your STBX nuts. Don't give her any emotional fuel to work off of and just treat her like a ghost. Get a reputable family law attorney and go from there. Good luck. Redditor 3, no one wants to be the villain in their own story. So that she can live with herself she needs to make you the villain. Don't let her do this. Expose her to everyone. Don't let her be the official historian on your marital story. Answer: this is true. Gonna sound a little crazy, but to some capacity, I feel like me continuing to be cordial and mature about this is what's getting her so combative. My reaction isn't quite aligning with her story, and that is causing her to lash out at me. If what I just said is true, that's her burden to bear. I don't want to be aggressive or vindictive and make whatever weird version of reality she has true. Story 2. I don't know whether or not I should tell my daughter her dad isn't her biological one. I 26F am married to my husband, 28 meters. I have a daughter 5F that isn't my husband's. Yes, he knows. No, I didn't cheat, it was before I knew him. Then 2 other kids with my husband, 2F and 4 months M. I got pregnant with a one-night stand. He asked me to get an abortion. I declined, but told him I wouldn't hold him accountable if he didn't want to be involved in her life. He has never met her, paid child support, she was given my maiden name at birth. I never told anyone who her bio father was for his own protection, and when my husband and I got together, no one asked questions whether or not she was his. He was on deployment through my entire pregnancy and birth. We met when he came home on leave to visit family at a bookstore, and the rest is history sort of thing. So no one really asked questions if she was his or not. His family just happily accepted her as one of their own. They absolutely love and adore her. He officially adopted her when she was 3, but we always kinda told her that her last name was my married name. We got married after being together for 2 months. My husband doesn't want her to know. He doesn't think we should tell her he's adopted, so we don't know his medical family history, and her bio father said there was nothing of concern in his. He said he'd be heartbroken if she took it hard and decided to not treat him like a dad anymore. She's a complete and total daddy's girl. I'm just on the fence. I've heard opposite sides of the spectrum, people who hated it when they found out and people who didn't. Honestly, I just am so lost and hoping for some outside perspective. Edit: I showed my husband the comments when he came home from work today, and it kind of opened his eyes, especially the one about not knowing about half-siblings and the small possibility she could wind up in a relationship with one, and we agreed to tell her, and as most suggested to do it while she's younger. I'm truly not sure how to initiate this conversation, so we'll consult her child therapist. She already has. When my dad passed away, she took it extremely hard as they were very close. So we got her into therapy to see how we kickstart this discussion. Thanks everyone. If anyone is interested in the future, I can update on how the conversation goes with her. Redditor's reactions, story 3 after. Redditor 1, the earlier the better. I am adopted and I can't remember a time when I didn't know. I was told I was special, that my mum and dad chose me and my brother out of all the children whose parents couldn't look after them. There were 2 of us in my class all through senior school, and we both knew and both accepted that's who we were. Then another girl got told on her 16th birthday when her parents thought she was old enough to learn about it. She had a f-king meltdown, went off the rails, ran away from home, and generally hated them for lying to her all her life. My point is, if there is the slightest chance anyone that knows may slip up in the F-turn, you can't control everyone, then you really should tell her now. I know your husband doesn't want it, but it's not his secret to keep. Redditor 2, my husband doesn't want her to know. Your daughter deserves to know in an appropriate way, because the truth will come out sooner or later. If you struggle figuring out how to do it, find a good child therapist. He said he'd be heartbroken if she took it hard and decided to not treat him like a dad anymore. Young kids usually manage a lot better than older ones, when they get informed in an appropriate way. Don't make a big issue out of it. just simply state the situation. Redditor follow-up, this. It needs to be worked into regular conversation when she's little so it's not as big of a deal. If you drop this bomb when she's older, she'll be a lot more hurt and traumatized by it. She has a right to know, and in the age of 23 and this is not something you want to hide. Might be a good idea to see a therapist and ask about the best way to tell her, how to word it since she's 5, but the sooner you tell her, the better the relationship will be. Redditor 3, first of all, she will find out as soon as she gets a look at her own birth certificate record. Never telling her is not a realistic option. Second, what do you expect to happen when she meets a half-brother she didn't know she has, feels an affinity with him that she can't explain, and considers taking him to bed? Do you think she'll call you to get your opinion on him first, giving you a final chance to fend off incest? Those situations have happened and they do not end happily. Tell her what she needs to know before she finds out in unpleasant circumstances. Redditor follow-up, not necessarily. When my stepfather adopted me at age 3, my birth certificate was reissued, and it has his name as my father. My bio dad is not mentioned. That said, I knew from the age of around 7 that my bio dad was a different guy. Had my parents hid that from me, I would have freaked out when I finally found out. I suppose I could pursue some sort of legal process to get a copy of the original BC, but there's no need. Story 3, I 28M found out about my GF's 28F affair with her boss Fortism a week ago. Should I confront her before I leave? We have been together for 5 years now and I was saving up money for a house and a wedding, but all that's gone now. I go for a run every morning and I couldn't find my phone. I asked her to give my cell a call, but she wanted to go back to sleep and handed her phone to me. I always had some suspicions about her behavior the past few months and so I snooped. Let's just say all her business trips and late nights were all excuses for hooking up with her boss who is also a married man BTW. I don't know when it all started, but from the texts, it seems like every day and all over the office. The lockdown stopped it and the wife found out about the affair as well. So the boss had to put an end to it. This also explained why GF was incredibly sensitive during March. I often found her bawling her eyes out, but the reason she gave me was one of her friend's mom passed away due to COVID. Last few months has actually been good for us. I was happy spending so much time with her. And it all seemed well. We also had talks about marriage and children and what our future may look like. She also seemed more invested in the relationship compared to earlier this year. I had already started saving up for the house already, but due to COVID I had to take a pay cut. So, I began looking for new jobs, since last month. I have narrowed it down to 2 job offers. One in the same city with a substantial increase in pay and the other on the West Coast with a gigantic increase in salary with probably the best company out there in my field. I haven't told her about the offers yet as the negotiations are still ongoing. However, this was all last week. Since GF has started working remotely, she has had limited contact with her boss. But their conversations started again at the beginning of this month. At first, it was all about how much they both regret about what they had done to their respective partners, about how he has to put a lot of effort into regaining his wife's trust and yada yada yada. Then the tone shifted in the second week and it was all about how they still had feelings for each other but it has to stop. She also mentioned that she was looking forward to getting married to me and how it would break my heart if I got to know about the cheating. Anyways, all that texting lead them to decide to meet up for one last time and then end it between them once and for all. I found out about all of this last Friday, and they are planning to meet up this weekend. BTW, she told me she is going to go and help out her friend who is moving back to her hometown this weekend. When I first read through everything, I just couldn't move from the sofa for an hour. It was as if my body weighed a ton. I started imagining them having time and making fun of me behind my back, and all kind of it was going through my head. Last week was hell for me. Looking at her all excited about the weekend made it all worse. Anyways, I am packing up everything tomorrow while she is out. I am heading back to my parents. I have not told them anything yet. Rather, I have not said anything to anybody. I have kept it all inside me, and it's getting bad. That's why I am writing this, because I'll go mad if I don't. I plan to take up the job on the West Coast. It's going to be remote for a while anyways, so it doesn't matter much. I am not planning on leaving anything behind, no letter, no text, no anything. I'll block her as soon as I hit the road. I have spent this week fixing up all my finances and talking with my landlord. And now I'm just done. What I want to know is, am I doing the right thing? Should I talk it out with her? Honestly, April and May was really good for us, but I don't think I'll be able to trust her anymore. It was really hard even looking at her face while talking to her the past few days. I just want it over with. It's just that she really looked forward to a life together, and I feel bad that this relationship has gone south. Redditor's reactions, story 4 after. Redditor 1, you owe her nothing. If she cheated once, it's an easy bet that she will cheat again. You may want to reach out to this guy's wife to give her a heads up. Chances are he could have been lying to your GF about his wife finding out. She should know something is up. I'm sorry this happened to you. Please consider talking to a counselor for your own mental health. There are online options available. Take care of yourself. Redditor 2, can you get a hold of his wife? She deserves to know as well. Let her take him to the cleaners. Move forward and be happy. You are going to find an amazing woman who will appreciate you. Your career will flourish. Answer, I haven't looked into him, but I think I can find his wife on Facebook. I'll do that after I reach my parents. Redditor 3, you are doing it perfectly. A nice touch would be printed copies of the proof you have. Just leave them on the kitchen table. Text messages or whatever else you have. Don't communicate with her at all. Give her all the respect she gave you, which was none. Answer, unfortunately, I didn't take any screenshots and I haven't touched her phone since then. Story 4, caught wife cheating. Affair ongoing at least 6 months. Running on 1 hour of sleep. Found evidence on her phone and she admitted it. She's already talking about making it work. I haven't told anyone yet. This sucks, guys. We've been married 3.5 years, together about 9. I'm more than surprised. We finally bought a nice house together and had been talking about kids soon. I'm glad we don't have any now. Still in shock. What do I do now? Who do I tell? Redditor's reactions update after. Redditor 1, kids are not involved. You really dodged a bullet. 6 months is a long time to be lying to the person you love. It tells you a lot. I know it's hard, because she's the person you trust more than anyone. But right now, you can't trust her. She violated that trust. Get a lawyer, now. Answer, thanks guys. I'm so goddamn shocked. My family and friends always thought we were the perfect couple. 6 months of sneaking around is heartbreaking. Comment, Thanks for all of the advice, everyone. I feel less alone. We talked this morning and she's downplaying it, saying it was only an emotional affair. Won't admit to even kissing. She admitted to a day trip with him a few days ago. I asked for proof, but she deleted her message history. I looked at her frequent locations and found this day trip was a 2-night trip. She reluctantly admitted to that after I showed her the evidence. Not a good sign. Lots of trust is gone. I really pictured our lives together. Duck, this hurts. Redditor follow-up, I'm really sorry. I think there are some couples that can overcome infidelity. I can't. It's an ultimate deal breaker for me, but that doesn't have to hold true for everyone, but I think it very much depends on the circumstances. I think for it to have any hope of working out, the following things have to be true. 1. It was a one-time slip-up, heat of the moment, whatever. 2. They are the ones to come to you and come clean. 3. They express genuine remorse and guilt and a plan on how to remedy what they've done to the best of their ability. Your wife hasn't done any of these things. It went on for half a year. She lied to you, every day, for 6 months. She never came clean, until you'd found the proof and she had no other choice. She's still lying, trickle-truthing, and deleting evidence, so you have nothing but her word, which isn't worth much now. I am sorry for your broken heart, but please respect yourself enough to walk away from this. Redditor 3, remember that it was not a mistake. She literally made thousands of choices to betray you. Check out the Chump Lady website. I tried to stay, even though I immediately knew I was done with him when I found out. It changed how I saw him as a person. I tried, but I couldn't stay. It is not up to her if you will try to make it work. She made her decision. She betrayed you and blew up your life together. She should be taking all the blame. No defensiveness. No blame shifting. No asking you to feel better already. You should expect up to 5 years of reeling and healing. You will never forget what happened and will feel triggered years later. I would recommend immediately separating. Allow yourself time to get your head on straight. Whatever you do, don't do a pick-me dance. It doesn't work. Instead, show her you'd be fine, probably better without her. She can demonstrate with action, not words, why you should even look at her after what she's done. Don't keep her secret. It's okay to tell people what happened. She made her bed, let her lie in it. Redditor follow-up, don't keep her secret. It's okay to tell people what happened. She made her bed, let her lie in it. It's actually very important that you tell everyone you both know exactly what happened, even let them see any evidence they might want to see. Women place much more importance on social standing than men do, and as someone who has been in a similar situation, doing this affected her more than anything else I could have said or done. Redditor 4, so what happened? Can you give an update? Answer, so we are still living together. She's trying hard to be the best wife possible. She 100% doesn't want to split up. I'm distant, of course, because I feel betrayed. I'm relatively convinced it was only emotional after reading a few more messages. I had her write out in letter form what it was and what it wasn't. They spent time here and there having drinks after work and going for lunches. Continuous flirting. But the 6-month time frame is nothing to ignore. I'm not trying to overthink anything or make any rash decisions. I'm giving her more time to prove a change in herself, but in the meantime I've also found myself wanting to chat and flirt more with other women. It's nice to feel like I have a bit more freedom in that regard. Whatever we decide to do, it needs to be because we and I think it's the most realistic path towards future happiness. Together or not. I guess I'll have more updates in the next month or two. Update: I 30M just found out that my fiance 29F cheated on me less than a week after our proposal. I know how the title looks. Here is the story. I've been with my now fiance for 4 years. In the previous 2 long-term relationships that she had before me, they didn't go very well. From what I know, her past relationships were based off of false expectations of her, where her controlling type boyfriends tried to change her. From the beginning, I told her to be herself, and our relationship flourished from there. We have been engaged for about a month. We were waiting until coronavirus conditions improved before booking any wedding plans. 2 nights ago, we were having a conversation about our future together, and it all came out. Less than a week after she accepted our proposal, she cheated on me with a friend of a friend. I will not mention his name here. She told me that she didn't know if she could see herself as a wife at first, so that's why she stepped out. There was no way to make a connection between the nature of her past relationships and her cheating. It was not a red flag at the time, nor did I think that it would lead to further commitment issues. I have moved out of our house and back to my parents, until I can think of a sound solution. I just don't know what that solution is. I know that this was a one-time affair. She's been begging me to take her back. I just don't know if I can justify the one-time factor as a basis for accepting her back. 1,000 positive affirmations can be erased with one bad mistake. Update. Thanks for all of the advice. I know how to proceed from here. I've always thought of ways to turn a negative situation into a positive situation, and most importantly, to not act or feed off of negative emotions. It was difficult to see how to do that for the past few days. For the majority of those who are telling me to end the relationship, I believe that it is the best course of action. It is true that cheating would have been a constant topic on my mind. We are not bound to each other through property or through finances, as I don't believe in doing so officially before marriage. My family and friends believe that the relationship should end as well. I have returned to my home, and will tell her to move out. Thank you to those who forwarded me to the surviving infidelity communities. Due to the surprisingly high rate in which posts have accelerated on my original thread, I have decided to stay off Reddit for now. Final update. Just wanted to give a final update. I won't respond further after this. Some users say that I have ended the relationship too soon without room for negotiation. That may be true under most circumstances. However, the timing of the affair said more than the affair itself. Therefore, I believe I made the right choice. Thanks. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, oh please, that's just what she said to justify the cheating. So every time when she has doubts about being a wife, she's gonna go duck someone else. If she has doubts, she can talk to you, she can go to counseling, she can discuss with her friends. Why is her first instinct to cheat? I wouldn't trust her again. Redditor follow-up, oh no. Little Timmy, our 4-year-old son, needs to get vaccinated, and I don't know if I can act like a grown-up wife anymore. This is all so much. I better duck my neighbor. Just a one-time thing, honestly, to center myself. Redditor 2, she didn't even make it a full week after agreeing to marry you before she was hopping on new DCK. There is no way in hell, heaven, or anywhere else that she will be faithful for the rest of her life. And that excuse is bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. You do not know this was a one-time affair. If you stay with her, she will cheat again. Probably multiple times with multiple people. Cheaters are trash, And this girl is no exception. Redditor follow-up, it really is a bullshit excuse. Plenty of people get nervous about marriage without running to someone else. Agreed that there is no way she would be faithful for the rest of her life. Redditor 3, she told me that she didn't know if she could see herself as a wife at first, so that's why she stepped out. This is the really weird part, frankly. Regardless of always cheater rhetoric, this part is a bit telling, don't you think? Redditor follow-up, yes, odd and troubling. She cheated instead of sharing her feelings, not a good choice for a life partner. Seems like it was not a drunken one-off but premeditated, and all the worse, with someone he knows. She may have engaged in lewd behavior with this guy long before the proposal. Redditor 4, oh lord. Several things. 1. She's not wife material, and is not ready to be a wife. She thought it, tried it and confirmed it. 2. It's not a one-time thing. 3. If you continue a relationship with her, you are setting the standard that you forgive cheating. In her mind, if you stay now because she cries and pleads, how likely will you be to stay when you're married and you have to legally separate? How likely to leave when kids are involved? Put your big boy pants on now and tell her that you can't forgive this. The end. At best, bare minimum, if you want to give it a second chance, get the ring back and tell her that marriage is off the table indefinitely. Maybe it'll come back, maybe not. Depends on her, and your ability to trust her. Redditor follow-up, I agreed with everything you said until the last sentence. Depends on her and your ability to trust her. From my perspective, it depends on her and whether she can demonstrate she deserves to be trusted. Trust is not given, it is earned.